Suddenly after reincarnating, his eyes start to hurt. His eyes turn red, which enables him to see the Matrix like a god. With curiosity, he conjures flames in his hand, seeing numbers on them as well. Our MC has unlocked the ability to steal other people's magic with his eyes. And this concludes the intro. The woman questions why Rain is acting like that. Seeing the Hero Plaza in front of the Papal Palace, Rain wonders if there's a statue commemorating Hero Lista's party there. He swiftly turns to the side. He sees the statues of 4 people. Engraved at the bottom are the dates of death and names of the 4 people. Seeing the dates, Rain asks the woman the current date, and she, puzzled, asks him why he wants to know. Rain repeats his question, and the irritated woman replies it's year 1418. Hearing this, Rain is thunderstruck, causing him to wonder if he reincarnated or if his memory fused with someone else's body. He then remembers the past memories of his companions, realizing they are 300 years old. He questions if they won the final battle, deeming it pointless since the statues and peaceful skies suggest they did. The woman asks why Rain is stating the obvious and tells him that Rin's body is still frozen at the top of the Papal Palace. Hearing this, Rain concludes he must have possessed someone's body. It's said that Lista stayed by Rin's side until the day she died. The woman claims the story is beautiful and yet sorrowful and asks Rain about it. But she sees Rain laughing and asks him why he laughs at a sad story. Rain is smiling because he realized Lista kept her promise. The woman looks puzzled by Rain's behavior as Rain walks towards the statue, hand stretched. He is saddened that someone couldn't keep their promise as he starts weeping, tears leaking from his eyes. Rain doesn't know what those 3 said about him, but he had become a historic figure. The Emperor erected a monument in his honor, and many magic towers and families revered him like a saint. However, the only thing left with Rain for the past 300 years was just the magic. The memories Rin has of traveling to various places and the faces of his companions all laughing are etched in his mind. In a dilemma about what to do now, he recalls Lista saying, "Memories only become memories when you share them." So his memories haven't become memories yet. Until reunited in death, he'll endure those memories alone, like echoes unanswered. The woman offers Rain a cup of tea with a smile. Rain accepts that his companions are gone and left him alone in the world as he takes the cup of tea. He wonders what he should do now. As he thinks deeply, he remembers something Lista had mentioned. He still had something he needed to do. The Sacred Human Empire had divided the wizard class into 7 levels. They start from 1-star rank to 7-star rank. In his previous life, Rin reached a 5-star rank. Only 2 others in the Empire's history achieved the rank of 6-star and higher, known as sages. Those sages had reached the ultimate truth. If Rin hadn't gone on that journey with Lista, he would have become a 6-star by the time he died of old age. But he believes he would have lived with regret. Now, if someone turned back time, Rin would still go on that journey with Lista over and over again. But Lista is gone now, though she had hoped the world would always be filled with laughter. As he follows the woman outside, he wonders if the world they fought desperately to protect is really as Lista had envisioned. It's said reaching the pinnacle of magic reveals the world's true nature, driving Rin to pursue 7-star wizardry in his new life. He wants to push himself and escape the feeling of sorrow and emptiness. Rin remembers the past when Lista had excitedly pointed towards some flowers in a flower field. Rin had then said he would rather read a magic book than waste time watching the flowers. He cherishes those memories. His journey with his companions was truly enjoyable. Now he is ready to move on as he bids his 3 companions goodbye. The dead can only stay in the past, and the living must follow the flow of time and keep moving towards the future. Thus, Rin's second life began. Rin turns his head, questioning at the mention of family. Lista asks Rin if he ever wished for a family. Rin replies no, adding he doesn't even know what his mother looks like. Rin explains he grew up in slums where a dead master of a school noticed his magical talents and took him in, otherwise, he would have been an orphan, so he doesn't care about family now. Pride puts her arm around Rin, saying that's sad. Rin breaks free, stating he doesn't know how to deal with having a family and prefers not having them. Lista advises Rin not to overthink it. She tells Rin to show lots of love as a warm-hearted kid and he will do just fine. Rin wakes from his sleep hearing someone calling for him to wake. He sees a maid nearby who tells him she will prepare breakfast for him. Rin gets out of his bed and stretches his arm. He walks to the mirror and stares at his reflection. Just 20 days ago, Rin regained his past memories and was reincarnated in the body of a 9-year-old spoiled young master. The one Rin incarnated into was a boy named Rain, the eldest son of the Ludwig family, one of the top 5 magical families in the Empire. In his past life, Rin was an orphan, but now he is born into a noble family. As Rain walks into the kitchen, another maid wishes him morning while his mother exclaims he is awake. The mother tells Rain to inform his father breakfast is ready. Rain goes to inform his father. The father, named Kevin Ludwig, seeing Rain, asks if he slept well, noting Rain doesn't look fresh and active. He feels Rain's forehead, suggesting Rain might not have shaken off the travel fatigue. Rain tells Kevin the breakfast is ready, and Kevin laughs, asking if that's why he came to him, telling Rain to go ahead and eat. Rain asks Kevin if he isn't going to eat. Rain notices a parchment on the table and asks Kevin if it's magic related. Kevin agrees, feeling rushed due to the theory presentation next week. Kevin explains that eating makes him nervous, so he tries to focus and get things done while his mind is clear in the mornings. Rain analyzes the parchment and offers to help Kevin. Kevin wonders if Rain will give him a pep talk, but Rain suggests helping with the magic circle. Kevin appreciates the offer but worries about missing breakfast. He tells Rain to go ahead and eat. Rain takes a quill and starts writing on Kevin's parchment, explaining magic's principles. Rain suggests replacing the rune storehouse with Hill to avoid complications and conflicts. He advises Kevin to use the Empire formula 41-2 for easy answers. Kevin, shocked, gazes at the corrections made by Rain on his parchment. Even the Empire's top scholars hadn't found a solution to that problem despite the high-level spell being activated 200 years ago. Based on Rain's magical understanding, he was a perfectly normal child and didn't inherit any magical talent from the Ludwig family lineage. Rain, holding the parchment, asks Kevin if he can join them for breakfast. Kevin smiles and hugs Rain, agreeing to eat together. Rain's family was small, consisting of his 2 parents and a 6-year-old sister. Rain's sister, named Sari, peeks out from behind the door. Sari has black hair and red eyes, inheriting physical traits of the Ludwig family, like Rain. Rain turns around, and Sari flees away, startled by being noticed. Rain sighs, noting it's not surprising. Rain was never kind to Sari, not that he was cruel, just indifferent to everything in the world. Rain continues reading the book. Then Lista's voice echoes in his head, telling him to show affection and not keep running away. The voice tells him he is a warm-hearted kid and will do great, causing him to slam the book shut in frustration. He then calls out to his sister, Sari, offering to teach her some magic. Looking taken aback, Sari peeks from behind the door. Rain turns his head, asking Sari if she wants to play together, but Sari just flees away without a word. Rain sighs, thinking kids are hard to understand, and he notices someone walk in. Sari returns with a large book, and Rain takes it, exclaiming that Sari, who is just 6, is already reading such a complex book. Sari gives a nervous smile at Rain. Rain recalls when Lista irritated him by pointing out all the things around, like cliffs and flowers. Rain asks Sari what she doesn't understand from the book and says he will explain since she doesn't understand anything from the beginning. He tells her that the magic circle is like playing with building blocks where different materials are needed for different houses. The shape of the magic circle determines the element of magic. A triangle is the fire element, a fan shape is the wind element. Rain explains that the next part are runes, which determine the effect of the magic. In runes, binding means to restrain and scattering means to disperse. Rain gives an example. If you inscribe the Yin rune on a triangular magic circle, it becomes a fire element binding spell. He explains to put it into practice, one can use mathematical formulas. Sari questions what math is, looking puzzled and not understanding anything. So Rain suggests they begin with basic addition and subtraction. Meanwhile, the house attendants are all surprised at seeing Rain's changed personality towards Sari. Rain's mother exclaims with happiness, and Kevin also looks pleased. They are watching as Sari falls asleep on Rain's laps, and the mother says she wants to capture that moment in a painting. Kevin mentions that Sari is quite shy, so it might not be a good idea. He notices the chart of magic and runes that Rain was teaching Sari. Kevin remarks that Rain has been a changed person since returning from the plaza, which the mother agrees with, noting Rain's mature speech as well. The mother asks if Rain might be possessed by the abyss, but Kevin disagrees, recalling a similar experience he had once. Kevin reveals that he saw Rin's body while a student and learned that Rin had reached the 5-star level in the turbulent era compared to his 3-star level. Living in the peaceful era, Kevin hadn't realized his complacency until now, suspecting Rain might share the same revelation. The wife asks if Rin's body is really frozen, and Kevin confirms, explaining Rin had mastered freezing perfectly and remains asleep, looking exactly like he did when he was 18. The wife asks for more information, but Kevin says that's all he knows and can't share anymore. After a moment of thought, Kevin mentions that Lista had left some magic in the ice. He adds that it said only Rin and Lista could awaken that magic. Kevin speculates it might be a letter in the ice. He also says he believes Rain might be a genius. Since Rain solved the magic circle that morning, which Kevin couldn't solve for a year, he thinks Rain might even reach the level of a sage. Hearing this, the wife asks Kevin if that was the reason he joined them for breakfast that day. Kevin admits that though it might be a little early, he will start teaching Rain their family's secret magic. He believes Rain can become the thieving magician, the one who can read and steal any magic. It's the bloodline-restricted magic, only allowed to those who inherited the blood of the Ludwig family. Kevin confesses he doesn't know how much he can reign, agreeing it's really difficult. The wife says it's something not to be taken lightly and asks Kevin about his plan, to which Kevin says he has something in mind. The Siastalica, a dazzling field of tulips stretching to the horizon, boasts a landscape where 1/3 of its land is owned by the Ludwig family. Rain lies on his back on the lush green grass, gazing at the perfect blue sky. Rain asserts that to journey far, one needs long-term goals, especially when seeking truth. Becoming a 7-star wizard requires relentless effort, regardless of age. No time can be wasted. Rain spreads a parchment on the grass to summon the guide first. At that moment, Sari appears behind him, asking what he is doing. Rain explains he was about to summon the magic guide, puzzling Sari, who asks about the guide. Rain mentions he will make one for Sari too, eliciting a joyful yell from her. Sari starts spinning on the spot, and Rain observes her excitement, also wondering why she isn't speaking fluently for a 6-year-old. Rain begins drawing the magic circle along with the necessary runes on the parchment. He explains that it's a high-level magic involving 4 different elements and that one needs to be a 4-star wizard to handle it. A moment later, the parchment starts glowing, and a massive beam of white energy shoots out of it into the sky. Rain realizes something is wrong as he starts bleeding from his nose and eyes. He wonders if the 4-star magic was too much for him and feels relieved it was just a guiding spell. Otherwise, combat magic could have killed him. The beam of energy dissipates as Rain notes his current body's frailty. Sari looks in amazement as Rain wipes his nose and calls for his guide. A butterfly-like creature flies and lands on Sari's extended finger. The Ruiden can quantify the user's ability and detect magical power. Rain explains to Sari that the Ruiden tells people what they need to learn and how to train. He also mentions that the rune pillar reveals one's basic magical capacity, and the rune stay shows one's proficiency in using magic. With a smile, Rain says it has all the best runes for learning, and though it might seem simple, it's still a 4-star magic spell. He asks Sari if she likes the Ruiden. Sari, still holding the Ruiden on her finger, responds affirmatively. Rain instructs Sari to go and study, which she promptly does. He decides to recover his mana before summoning the second Ruiden. The Ruiden reveals Rain has only 3,024 mana, worse than a beginner wizard. Checking his magical arithmetic and stamina, which are 77 and 64 respectively, Rain realizes he has a long way to go. The Ruiden detects the bloodline-restricted magic manual and informs Rain. Learning this new information, Rain thinks his body might not be total garbage. Rain recalls a young wizard who once challenged him while he was traveling with Lista. The young wizard wanted to prove himself as the Empire's greatest wizard and replace Rin in the party. However, the young wizard's skills weren't impressive. Rin wasn't impressed either. Nevertheless, the young wizard's eyes troubled Rain. He could see every spell Rin used and counterattack each one. Rain speculates this might be the power of the Ludwig family's bloodline limit magic, Bel Sidious. Just by seeing the flow of mana, one can tell what magic their opponent is using, making it easier to counterattack. Rain remembers the Bel Queries, the legendary eye which only 3 people in history have opened, allowing them to steal others' magic. Due to that eye, the Ludwig bloodline was known as the Thieving Wizards. Rain now believes he has found his childhood goal. Back at the mansion, Rain is engrossed in some books when Kevin walks in. Kevin asks Rain if he's taken an interest in their family's bloodline limit magic. Though it may be a bit early, Kevin inquires if Rain is interested in learning it. Rain confirms, and Kevin announces that Elin will tutor him starting that day, with Kevin personally tutoring him upon his return from the conference. Rain asks who Elin is. Kevin explains that Elin is Rain's aunt, who teaches students at Delayton and loves him more than anything. At that moment, someone in heels walks in. Rain is taken aback by the new arrival. The woman, Elin Ludwig herself, walks towards Rain, examining him closely. With a hint of malice, she remarks that she really had to come all the way there to teach the uncute little brat. Rain sweats nervously as Elin grabs his head, asking if he is ready, a malicious look on her face. Looking down at Rain, Ellen asks if he knows her, and Rain acknowledges her as Aunt Ellen. Turning away, Ellen insists Rain address her as Professor Ellen, the great genius, and warns him not to ask something she already taught. Thus began the training of the bloodline magic limit. Bloodline magic limit is not recorded to prevent theft by other magicians, requiring direct transmission of knowledge from a family mage to one's mind. Looking irritated, Ellen announces she will demonstrate and instructs Rain to pay attention. Rain observes curiously. Ellen's eyes begin to glow, giving Rain a weird feeling akin to those eyes from before. As Ellen's eyes intensify, she reveals it's the Bel Sidious, prompting Rain to crack a smile. Rain exclaims in admiration, and Ellen looks pleased. Ellen explains it's impressive, but mastery requires handling 3 spells simultaneously, dismissing Rain's ability. Rain insists he can do it, earning a laugh from Ellen for his cockiness. Satisfied with Rain's appreciation, Ellen confidently shares a few formulas, which focus on magic analysis. Rain reviews the theoretical content of the formulas. If the founder of the Ludwig family hadn't restricted the magic to his bloodline, Rain could have used it in his previous life. Ellen mocks Rain's struggle with the magic's difficulty, but Rain remains determined, needing time to grasp it. Ellen deems Rain hopeless, intending to teach him specially. Despite Ellen's skepticism, Rain expresses gratitude for her guidance, declaring he will take it from there. Ellen is shocked by Rain's confidence. She laughs, warning Rain not to be pretentious and not to come crying later. Rain ignores her, focusing on studying the formulas. Now irritated, Ellen turns away, confident Rain will fail and warning him not to seek help later. Rain delves into the theory of magic on his own while Ellen sits nearby engrossed in a book. As Rain struggles with some problems, Ellen notices and takes the parchment from him. She corrects it and hands it back to Rain before burying her face back into her book. Later, Rain faces another problem, and as before, Ellen snatches the parchment, makes corrections, and returns to her reading. Rain grows confused at Ellen's teaching style, wondering if she's testing him. Rain's mother observes him studying nearby. After some time, Ellen instructs Rain to rest and storms out of the room. Rain's mother approaches him, explaining that Aunt Ellen's unusual behavior stems from her reluctance to express her feelings honestly and her eagerness to teach Rain. She recalls Ellen's past adorableness while she used to follow her and her husband around. Lessons resume after the break, with Rain studying independently while Ellen reads. Ellen gives a quick glance at Rain, who catches her, prompting her to look away hastily. Rain finds his aunt more bothersome than 6-year-old Sari. Later, Rain admits he doesn't understand a part and asks Ellen to explain. Ellen reacts with shock at being asked and berates Rain, claiming their family is doomed. She looks over the problem and explains an alternative solution to Rain. Ellen scolds Rain for his lack of knowledge, questioning what he's been doing since age 9. Rain asks Ellen 2 more questions, irritating her, and she limits him to 1 final question. Despite Ellen's annoyance, Rain asks more questions. Rain's lessons with Ellen are consistently like this, but they accelerate his theoretical and practical learning. By the 10th day of lessons, Rain experiences searing eye pain, feeling like his head is about to burst. The world turns red, and a sign appears in Rain's glowing eyes, turning everything into numbers. Rain realizes all information is being transmitted to his brain as mathematical formulas, contemplating what it's like to be the creator of the universe. Curious to see what magic looked like, he conjures flames in his hands and see numbers on them as well. Rain realizes that the young wizard's eyes must have interpreted all his magic into numbers and formulas. Rain exclaims that it's amazing. Meanwhile, Ellen is bewildered seeing Rain achieve that level of magic in just 10 days. Even after receiving special education, it had taken Ellen 7 years to acquire Bel Sidious. The others had said it would take at least 70 years to master Bel queries. Yet, Rain achieved it in just 10 days, akin to performing multiple operations of basic magic in a blank state without prior knowledge. Astonished, Ellen believes Rain might be comparable to Rin, dubbed the god of multivariate magic. Watching Rain's eyes issue red flames, she wonders if he is. Even Rain's father finds it hard to believe that Rain opened Bel Sidious in just 10 days. Ellen remarks that if Rain continues to excel, the Ludwig family may become the leading mage family, praising his remarkable abilities. As Ellen leaves the room, Kevin admits he has nothing left to teach Rain. He then summons a person named Yuda. Yuda appears and awaits Kevin's orders. Kevin requests Yuda to send a letter to his father. Yuda inquires if Kevin refers to the previous head of the family. Kevin confirms and asks if Yuda has any objections, to which Yuda denies. In the message, Kevin seeks his father's guidance for his son, who possesses natural talent, and asks for his teachings. Yuda smiles, acknowledging Kevin's dedication to the young master, and assures him he will fulfill his request. The spring ends, and a brief summer arrives. Expected to last a year, the summer brings dark clouds and pouring rain day after day across the continent. During the summer days, Rain is extremely busy. First, he learns household magic from Ellen. Then, he teaches basic magic to Sari whenever he gets the chance. And during the night, he focuses on training his physical and magical abilities. The development of modern magic in the last 300 years, Rain learns from Ellen in books, was remarkable. Due to the establishment of extremely complex formulas in simple form, casting time has decreased, and the power has become much stronger. Now, Rain's magic surpasses what it was 300 years ago, and he believes he can defeat a modern 4th-rank mage. With time, Rain's magic also grew, but to become a 7th-rank mage is impossible in his current state. For that, he needs much stronger power and more knowledge. One day, Rain asks his father for a favor. He requests Kevin to send him to the magical world, where he can graduate in about 3 years. His mother questions his decision, and Rain confirms his desire to go. Rain wants to attend the top university, Delayton, in the magical world Golden Rose, and he asks Kevin for permission. Kevin denies the request, stating Rain is too young at 10 years old, and there are more important matters for him to focus on, so leaving home is too early for him. He says that the mage's children enter Delayton at the age of 6, and even if Rain goes there, it will be too early to admit him. And Kevin says Rain has much more important matters to attend to. Holding up an envelope, he says his father has sent Rain a letter. Ellen chokes on her steak and coughs loudly hearing this. Kevin tells Ellen to wipe her mouth before she speaks. Rain is also surprised to learn about his grandfather, while Sari continues pulling on his clothes and cheeks. Kevin says that in a Ludwig family, his father is also one of the founders of Belqueries. Rain thinks his prediction was correct, and the creator of Belqueries is Scala Ludwig. Kevin informs Rain that his grandfather will personally teach him Belqueries, and he tells Rain he should go and see his grandfather first. So, Rain travels in a horse-drawn carriage to meet his grandfather. He walks into the big mansion, following his father. Kevin tells Rain he has something to take care of and suggests he go and greet his grandfather. Rain goes to meet his grandfather and sees him standing inside a room. The grandfather is looking out of a window as he senses Rain. The grandfather raises his 2 fingers and activates a spell. The spell startles Rain, causing cups and trays on a nearby table to shake, including the chandelier. Rain, shocked, wonders what his grandfather is trying to do. The grandfather, his head bowed slightly, looks serious as a triangular-shaped spell appears in his hand. Rain tries to think before doing anything as he, too, produces a circular spell in his hand. Both of them stare at each other. The grandfather raises his head, his eyes glowing red. Rain's panicked face is visible as he stares at his serious-looking grandfather, his spell ready. Suddenly, his readied spell disappears, which greatly shocks him. The grandfather says that's Belqueria's. He claims he can see all types of magic Rain can cast and can control it freely, his eyes blazing. Rain gives a nervous smile and exclaims wow, prompting the grandfather to laugh and ask if he wants to try it too. The grandfather deactivates his eyes' flames, stating that mastering Belqueria's isn't the end. Casters must fully understand it, asking Rain his magic level. Rain replies he can barely perform a 3rd-rank magic, to which the grandfather says that's impressive. The grandfather says that Belqueria's requires immense magical power and tells Rain he has a long way to go. With a confident smile, Rain says it's just long and not unachievable as he requests his grandfather to teach him the path to reach that level. The grandfather says the training will be difficult, but that's how Rain can learn properly as Kevin gives a smile. Grandfather apologizes to Rain for his rough first impression and welcomes him sincerely. He then addresses Kevin and invites him to a drink. Taken aback with the invitation, Kevin turns around and bows to his father. Outside, Rain is training with his grandfather. The grandfather, producing a huge energy ball in his hand, tells Rain to stop and that he must be able to use Belqueria's freely. He instructs Rain to analyze the magic and not miss it, which Rain agrees. Saying so, the grandfather shoots the energy ball towards Rain, telling him to move quickly as Rain jumps aside. Grandfather is impressed with Rain's talent to learn so quickly and deems him a genius for learning a month's worth of skills in just 1 day. He asks Rain what his original training regimen was like, telling him he needs to risk his life to increase his growth rate. Rain, who is running around, says he got it. The grandfather says he will cast a fireball as a swirl of fire appears above his hand. He tells Rain if he can't avoid it, he will die. Saying so, he hurls the fireball towards Rain, shouting now's the time. Rain stops running, and his eyes glow golden as he shouts Belcedius. The massive fireball flies towards Rain, and the grandfather shouts at him to hurry up. Rain, whose eyes are still glowing, sees the fireball and thinks he should intercept it with Belcedius and manipulate the fight with Belquirius. As the fireball closes on Rain, the grandfather shouts his name. Rain's eyes widen as a heptagon symbol appears in his retina. And finally, Rain sees the surrounding represented in numbers. His eyes darken as he sees numbers around the massive fireball close to his face. He realizes the Belquirius has been activated, converting all things into equations and transmitting into his brain. And now he decides to try changing the equations in front of him as he wishes. The magical array of the spell to achieve such a task consists of 2 triangles. The assigned rune symbol is a formulating ludicin, its size 17 axles, and the range 23 gimite. He changes the equation using the imaginary roots, causing the fireball to disintegrate into nothing. The grandfather watches in anticipation as Rain begins falling down. The grandfather catches him on time. Looking exhausted, Rain asks if he managed to do it. The grandfather, with a smile, tells Rain he did well and informs him all he needs to do now is increase his magical power. Moreover, he is astonished to see Rain mastered Belquirius just at the age of 14. He reveals he was 39 when he barely reached Rain's level and believes Rain is a genius who might overrule the history of the Empire. The grandfather tells Rain he won't interfere in his life but asks him a favor. He tells Rain to be sure to get admitted to Delayton when turning 16. Rain, however, is not interested in the Magic Academy Delayton. Grandfather explains to Rain that if he graduates as the top student, he will have a chance to have an audience with the Archmage Rin. Rain says he isn't curious, to which the grandfather says he felt the same way. And he tells Rain about a letter left by the hero Lista and asks Rain if he isn't curious about it. Rain is shocked to hear this. The grandfather tells Rain no one has opened the Belquirius at his age and is confident with his abilities. He should be able to read the contents of the letter. At first, Rain was just stunned and speechless from the shock learning this, but it was actually the beginning. Following the letter left by Lista, a story of a journey that follows the traces of old comrades commences. As Rain gets ready to leave, his mother asks if he will be okay, worried as he leaves without an escort. Kevin says Rain's skills are good and he shouldn't meet any danger on the national highways. Rain wonders if he will be able to recall the current conversation as a memory when he thinks about it someday. 15 days have passed since Rain's journey, and he is at the Jerem region, southern part of the Holy Empire. He witnessed numerous inns and bars in the small town. Everyone he saw was wearing hats. A drunk stranger asks Rain why he isn't wearing a hat and if he doesn't know about Rin Top. Rain asks what Rin Top is, and the drunk man says long ago their founding leader received help from Archmage Rin. Since then, people have worn hats as a gesture of gratitude to Rin, which the drunk man calls cool and a grand history. Rain wonders who might be the founding leader and hopes he might remember when he hears the name. He also wonders why such great merchants are stuck in a village like this. Rain learns of a problem at the intersection leading to Sunway Road where monsters have appeared, causing dozens of people to go missing. The man says the villagers are waiting for Lord Nori to send an expeditionary force. Upon hearing about monsters, Rain recalls them as living forces influenced by the abyss, resembling animals but possessing a more grotesque appearance and ferocious magical power. Clutching his fist, flames flicker around it as he advances toward the monsters, hoping they aren't the formidable ones that could endanger him. The night has fallen. As Rain walks along the road, he feels the monsters' gaze and puzzles why they aren't attacking. He thinks maybe the monsters sensed a difference in magical power with their instincts. He is confident he can defeat them if they are that weak, but claims it's not his business. He believes the expeditionary force will handle the situation, so he continues on his path and decides to go by land road. The land road reminds him of his past memory. Lista had suggested the party continue and move towards Turbinopol where there's an amazing flower garden, suggesting they stop by on the way. Rin had shouted, asking what they were doing. He had reminded his companions about 2 parties who crossed over to the continent and were wiped out fighting at the front lines. He mentioned the front lines were at a stalemate, waiting for reinforcements, and chided his 3 companions for not grasping the situation. He had reiterated the arrival of the Red and Yellow Dragon Corps and the most formidable mercenaries sailing for honor and glory, so he had suggested they needed to hurry as well. Rin had noted that after the strong ones left, monsters started rampaging across the continent, ranging from C to B rank danger levels, stressing it's not the time for trivial concerns like flowers. Lista had comforted Rin by reminding him of the countless people in need worldwide and the abundance of issues requiring assistance. Lista had hoped Rin would grow into an adult and help those people. Currently, Rain has his hands over his eyes, as he recalls the above memories and says though Lista died 300 years ago, she still nags like nothing's changed. Tired from walking for long, Rain decides to take a rest. Sitting down, he uses a spell and summons a creature, commanding it to go and find something. As the creature goes away, Rain waits patiently. He waits more, and he had told the creature to bring the thing back to him. Suddenly, a long shadowy form appears in the sky. The shadowy thing slams down into the ground in front of Rain. Rain watches the thing and sees a monster with many eyes, with an anaconda-like thing coiled around its body. The monster's eyes are huge as it gives a roar. Looking at the monster, Rain thinks, how can that be considered a threat? He says he has dealt with countless monsters like this before. As the anaconda tightly coils around its body, emitting a loud yell, Rain demands that the monster promise not to harm people in exchange for its release. The monster gives another roar, and Rain says the monster might not listen anyway. So the anaconda increases the pressure around the monster, causing it to be torn to pieces. Rain walks away from the dead monster's body, saying he didn't do that to help the people but to kill time. The border between the central and southern parts of the empire was known as Bardancho Mountains in the past. As Rain sets his foot there, he is greeted by a number of monsters. They are low demon beasts who look at Rain with contempt, charging at him. Out of nowhere, a lot of arrows come flying and strike the monsters, startling Rain. Rain turns around to see someone behind him. There are two people holding large bows in their hands. Rain is shocked to see them as he recognizes one of them as Keese. Rain stares at the two strangers carrying bows and finds the guy among them to resemble Keese. The female jumps down from the small cliff, asking Rain if he is okay. Rain smells alcohol. She says monsters appear at this place and asks Rain if nobody warned him. The guy also jumps down and says they are the descendants of the Imperial Palace, protecting that place. Rain thinks the person cannot be Keese as he tells them he is grateful for their help. He asks them if this place is the Bardancho Mountains. The two strangers stare at each other and then start laughing loudly. Looking annoyed, Rain asks them why they are laughing. The guy says that the name of the mountain has changed to Keeslinton and asks Rain why he is still looking for the Bardancho Mountains. Keeslinton means Castle Siege Keese Mountains, and it seems after defeating the Abyss, Keese must have established roots there. The two strangers must be the disciples of the archery faction established by Keese. It is said that skilled individuals traditionally guard the valley. Rain wonders if the basic principle of the faction is drunken archery and muses at what Keese might have taught. The guy tells Rain he came at the right time, as a festival is being held where everyone can drink for free, suggesting he recognized the taste of alcohol to be an adult. He tells Rain that alcohol is a path to the sun and the moon, while the girl, irritated, tells the guy he turned out to be a very refined man. She tells the guy to stop talking nonsense and focus on protecting the place, but the guy says how can they leave Rain alone there? The guy says he will take Rain to the village entrance and come back, then runs away holding Rain. The path is covered in fallen leaves as Rain and the guy make their way along it. Rain walks in silence while the guy constantly chatters. The guy tells Rain if they go up the wooden stairs nearby, they will find a seal, and if he follows the straight road there, he will reach the destination. At the bottom of the staircase, Rain notices a stone slab raised from the ground. The stone slab has strange symbols and language inscribed on it. Rain is starstruck seeing the stone. The guy tells Rain he can make a wish there, causing Rain to question him about it. The guy asks if Rain really doesn't know, saying it might be hard to recognize without people around, leaving Rain confused and asking what he means. The guy tells Rain the stone slab is the tomb of Lord Keese and that everyone makes a wish there for protection. Rain tells the guy not to joke around, and the guy says he isn't. Rain says it's strange for anyone to build a tomb in the middle of the mountain and questions if Lord Keese was a great man. The guy is amazed that Rain doesn't know the story behind the tomb and asks Rain if he is really from this country. The guy asks Rain if he knows about Lord Keese's colleague, the Grand Wizard Rin. He says that Rin might have been a shy person and that it is believed Lord Keese thought Lord Rin would come back even after death. Because of Rin's shyness, Lord Keese had asked people to bury him alone in the forest so that Rin wouldn't get shy to visit him. Rain has another flashback when he complained to Keese about his snoring and the smell of alcohol. Keese had grabbed onto Rin's head, who protested furiously. Rin had taught Keese how to write a letter. Keese had again put his hand on Rin's head, causing Rin to slap his hand away in anger, warning him not to touch his head. At present, Rain puts his hand on his head, remembering these flashbacks. The voice of Keese reverberates inside Rain's head, telling him it is an eternal farewell as Rain stares at the tomb. The voice tells Rain they will never meet again. But Rain says no, that's not true. Rain had definitely promised to return and promised to see Keese again. A corpse of Keese flashes in Rain's eyes, reminding him of his promise. Rain gets startled and sprints away. Looking stunned, he runs away from the tomb, his face in horror. He stumbles on a root and slams his face on the ground. Still with his face on the ground, he grabs a handful of fallen leaves and gives a huge yell. Rain sits on the edge of a cliff, staring down. He wants to turn around and go to Keith's grave. He wants to say goodbye, though it's late. He has returned. He remembers the faces of his 3 companions and expresses his apology towards them. The moon is bright in the sky, and a black crow sits on a branch. Rain is on his back, lying on the stony surface, his legs dangling from the cliff. Past memories flood his mind, like when Keith complimented him for being able to see clearly in darkness. Another memory is when he asked how Keith fit in when drunk, and Rin replied saying she didn't know. Remembering the time when Rin told Keith to rest and drink quickly, Rain smiles. In the next memory, Lista told Rin she couldn't talk because Keith didn't give permission. Another memory of a night when Rin and others had trouble sleeping because of Keith's snores flashes in his mind. Rain's smile widens as he remembers Keith saying he is quiet but sleepy when he goes to sleep. The memory of when he died suddenly appears in Rain's vision. The saddened faces of his companions float before his eyes when he was dying. Now in the present, Rain covers his eyes with his hand, tears leaking. As he remembers Keith's face, Rain begins to cry loudly. The night breeze makes the leaves fly around as Rain lies on his back, weeping. A while later, Rain stands up and walks away. He walks towards Keith's tomb, small grasses and fallen leaves surrounding it. Rain raises his hand, activating a spell. A triangular symbol appears before his fist. He points it at the tomb, summoning fire as he smashes his fist into the ground. The fire causes all the leaves and grass to completely burn. The fire spreads, causing the leaves all around to burn to a crisp. Rain stands amidst the fire, looking grim. As the fire settles, there is no grass or leaves around Keith's tomb. His hand still issuing flames, Rain stares at the tomb in silence. As the sun rises, its light reflects off the tomb, causing it to shine. A while later, Rain turns on his heels and walks away from the tomb. As he walks away, Rain apologizes to Keith, claiming he isn't shy but lacks the courage to face him and ask for his forgiveness. Rain struggles to say more, showing deep remorse for not being able to keep his promise to Keith. The sun is high in the sky now, and Rain is sweating as the autumn in the south was unusually hot. Under such a summer-like autumn sky, Rain arrives at a huge city bustling with numerous people. It's the magical city Golden Rose, where the Magic Academy, Delayton, is located at its heart. Rain had been very curious about the city, but seeing it live, it didn't meet his expectations. In the streets, Rain sees a man selling magic books. Walking ahead, he also sees other people selling different tools and items. All the knowledge of the world flows through Golden Rose. Rain asks a trader how much for an item, holding it up. The trader says it costs 10 copper, and Rain exclaims at just 10 copper. Rain says he will take one, holding a red crystal. The trader tells Rain the clock tower bell is ringing, reminding him the exam will start soon. Rain hands over the copper to the trader as he remembers he had come to Delayton to take the exam. Suddenly, Rain hears a commotion behind him and turning around sees a thief running away. As the thief flees, Rain thinks the security there isn't good. He believes the guards will take care of the thief and focuses on his exam. At that moment, an old woman stumbles and falls down in front of Rain. Rain asks the woman if she is okay. The old woman shouts at the thief, demanding he return it, as it's not for sale and is her family's legacy needed for her grandson's entrance exam. Rain watches as the woman begs for the thief to return her belonging. However, Rain doesn't decide to help as his entrance exam is about to happen. As he begins to walk away, a voice in his head tells him to help the woman. He halts, conscious of Lista telling him to help. So Rain decides to help, asking the woman about the thief and instructing her to wait as he goes after the culprit. The old woman watches in amazement as Rain leaps towards the thief. He jumps from roof to roof, chasing after the thief, as people look up at Rain in disbelief. Annoyed at the thief's busyness, Rain threatens to turn him into a charcoal briquette as his arm crackles with electricity. Suddenly, someone comes running after Rain, telling him to get out of the way and grabs his shoulders. A small girl jumps in front of Rain, telling him to get out of the way. The girl jumps down at the thief, conjuring a spell in the process. A small circular bright light appears above the girl's hand and below, sand begins to fly and surround the thief. Taken aback, the thief exclaims in worry at the sand. In seconds, a huge turret of sand forms in the street. The girl jumps on the raised turret and tells the thief below he was brave for trying pickpocketing in the Golden Rose but picked the wrong day. Rain stares at the girl, taken aback by her arrival. The girl declares to the thief he is doomed, looking down at him from her turret of sand. She tells the thief he has been caught by her, who is a sand soldier, looking proud. Rain recognizes the girl to be an illegitimate child of the Warden family. Warden is a powerful family in the Eastern Territory, one of the top 5 mage families along with the Ludwig family. Rain had met the girl a few times at sage meetings before he regained memories of his previous life. During their meetings, The girl had mocked and made fun of Rain and given him a lecture, so he used to call her nerd. Seeing that girl wear a school uniform, Rain is puzzled as he believes they are of the same age. Suddenly, the thief attacks the girl, causing her sand turret to blow away with his magic. A swirl of sandstorm-like appears on the streets, causing people to panic. A child gets blown off, shouting for help from his mom. Rain manages to catch the child using a root from the ground and returns him safely to his mother using magic. Rain's eyes blaze with flames as he realizes the thief is a mage as well, with a decent amount of mana. His attention is caught by an item the thief is wearing on his left hand. The girl prepares a counterattack, saying the equipment is too good for a thief and challenging if he can block her next attack. The girl's next magic spell startles both the thief and Rain as Rain realizes it's 2-star magic and is surprised by the incredible surge of mana. The girl creates a star-shaped thing between her hands, glowing golden light, and she joins the hands, sending a blinding flash of light all around. The ground begins to shake as the people around feel it. Just like the Ludwig family is called thieving mages, the Warden family is called wielding mages. The ground is cracked from the girl's spell. The ground splits open, sending small stones and dust upwards into the sky. The stones and sand all assemble together, forming a massive sandstone golem. The thief mocks the girl for showing off, while the girl smiles, looking proud. The golem's eyes blaze as the thief cracks a smile. He raises his arm and bellows out that with the items he is wearing, he is invincible. Saying so, he attacks the golem with a spell, causing the girl to give a worried look as he continues to smile. The glow in the golem's eyes disappears as smoke bellows out from its body. But a moment later, its eyes glow again, and the girl smiles instead. She confidently asks the thief if he thought he could defeat her with that kind of attack, while the golem behind prepares to smash her with its fist. Her confidence fades to worry as her eyes shift nervously, while the thief's evil smile grows, a dark glow emanating from the items on his arm. After a blinding flash of light, numerous bolts of gold and crackling electricity appear behind the golem. The thief gives a shocked look, as do the girl's eyes widen in shock. Rain appears in front of the girl, his hand raised as the golem's left hand gets blown off. Rain advises the shaken thief that casting a spell first doesn't guarantee victory, electricity crackling around his raised fist as he stands in front of the puzzled-looking girl. The thief screws his face in shock as Rain tells him casting a spell doesn't guarantee victory. The girl is surprised to see Rain appear before her. Meanwhile, Rain's face is focused, a magic circle above his hand. The thief commands the golem, and the golem raises its huge arm and brings it down. Rain creates a magic square pattern, a circle with a rune engraved on it which is fierce. He raises both his hands and, pointing the circle at the golem, makes a huge amount of water appear from it, hitting the golem. The water then trickles down, wetting Rain and the girl both, as the girl asks Rain if he is a water attribute wizard. Suddenly a huge shadow falls on them, and they look up. The girl says that though the water attribute is critical against the earth attribute, her golem can't be defeated with 1-star magic. The thief laughs and mocks Rain, saying he was acting too confident, asking if that's all he's got. Rain and the girl stand below, towered by the golem, and the thief continues mocking Rain for not knowing what he is doing. Suddenly the golem launches an attack at them on the thief's command, who shouts for them to die. Rain quickly summons another magic circle above his hands. He then fires another jet of water from the disc, which meets with the golem's punch, stopping it. The girl standing at the back reminds Rain his magic won't work. The thief, now pissed, shouts at Rain to stop trying and die quickly. But Rain keeps the circle raised, and the powerful jet of water continues bellowing upwards, stopping the golem's punch. Rain gives a troubled expression, struggling to hold back the golem's punch. Suddenly, the golem withdraws its punch and steps aside. The thief watches astonished, his eyes widening. Meanwhile, the golem turns towards the girl and aims a punch at her. Rain swiftly jumps in between and grabs the girl out of the punch. The golem's punch strikes the water-covered ground, damaging its hand. The thief's mouth widens in shock as the golem's hand shatters into pieces and it slams down. Rain breaks his fall by using his hands and legs to stop himself, while the girl is sent flying backwards. The thief uses another controlling spell as Rain realizes that you can't use your own magic while intercepting and using others' magic. The girl shouts at Rain, asking why he just grabbed her. Rain creates a star-shaped symbol between his hands. The girl watches in surprise at Rain's star-shaped symbol. Rain tries to use Previs calculus to solve the mathematical formula and solves the puzzle, causing the star-shaped symbol to shine bright and grow larger into an octagon shape. He mutters alter fate as the symbol between his hands starts to grow bigger and glow even brighter. Rain then throws the symbol towards the golem. Suddenly, large tentacle-like roots emerge from the ground, binding themselves to the golem's body parts, horrifying the thief. Soon, the roots have pinned the golem down to the ground, binding its numerous parts. The roots grow further, and even leaves start sprouting. The thief shouts in shock as the roots emerge from the ground at his feet, sweating in fear as the speechless girl stares at Rain. Rain walks towards the thief and snatches the artifact from his wrist. Examining the artifact, Rain deems it interesting and accuses the thief of stealing it. Examining the artifact, Rain speculates it might possess powers akin to Belsidius for nullifying magic control and wonders if its 2 magic squares enable the theft of up to 2-star magic. Looking terrified, the thief asks Rain who he is and how he can use magic so quickly. But Rain turns away, thinking even if he reveals his identity, the thief won't believe him. Rain walks towards the old woman who watches in shock. Telling the old woman to be careful Rain hands over the artifact to her. Rain gives a smile as the woman begins weeping in happiness. The spectators watching cheer, praising Rain with kind words, and Rain looks pleased. Suddenly, Rain remembers the entrance exam. Without delay, he sprints away, leaving the thief there. A sword points at the thief, and a woman in a cloak stands before him. The woman in the cloak addresses the girl as Krista, inquiring if she made a mistake. The stranger removes the cloak to reveal a woman, Professor Caroline. Caroline praises Krista's confidence but admonishes her for reckless golem use. Krista vows to be more careful next time. Krista asks Caroline if she saw the guy whose magic casting speed was as fast as her, and Caroline confirms she did, believing his casting speed was faster than hers. Krista asks what happened, saying Rain didn't seem that strong during the Sage Council. Caroline questions why Rain was there if he came for the entrance exam, causing Krista to ask her what she means. Caroline says the entrance exam started a long time ago. Meanwhile, Rain continues sprinting towards the exam, alarmed. Caroline considers for a moment and agrees with Krista. At the professor's office, Caroline goes through Rain's documents, noting his lack of awards from any magic competitions or other notable achievements. She discovers Rain is the supposed prodigy rumored to be sent to the Ludwig family by the heavens. Going further into Rain's files, Caroline sees that he worked as a teaching assistant under Scaldi Ludwig for 3 years. Scaldi Ludwig is known as a master of elemental magic and even a ruler of Magic City. Caroline knows that Scaldi isn't someone to give special treatment to family members. If someone doesn't perform well, Scaldi Ludwig will dismiss them without a thought. Caroline wonders why Rain is called a prodigy within the 8 great schools if he was a teaching assistant of Scaldi. After contemplating, Caroline summons the assistant Baden and instructs him to schedule a meeting with the Chancellor to discuss a specific admission case. It seems like history repeats itself, and talent always seems to come in waves. The newly admitted students are all exceptional from different schools. The warden had sent details of an exceptional student, but he might struggle alone. The conflict between noble families and the 8 great schools runs deep, making it uncomfortable to intervene in student disputes, but they can't ignore the current unique situation. The Chancellor of Delayton, Medelia Page, suggests they notify the professors and instructors to keep a close eye on students and intervene if necessary. Seeing Professor Caroline silent, Medelia asks her what's wrong. Caroline asks if it's too early to make that judgment, prompting Medelia to ask for a detailed explanation. Caroline reveals that Krista isn't the only prodigy the magical noble family sent. Medelia asks if there is a new student she doesn't know about, and Caroline says no. Medelia questions Caroline about the student she wants to admit through an extra test, and Caroline cryptically responds, reminding her she met that student at the Sage Council. Medelia tells Caroline to speak clearly and not in circles, so Caroline suggests admitting Rain Ludwig and not interfering afterward. Caroline wonders how Rain and Krista would behave, while Medelia contemplates. Medelia says they will find out soon enough and explains that Owen is their strict instructor and homeroom teacher. She asks Caroline if Rain really didn't want any rewards, and Caroline affirms, explaining Rain didn't want people's attention. Caroline says Rain just wanted to read books, causing Medelia to call him a strange fellow. Caroline says strange people often become good wizards, as their master always said, and she inquires about Medelia's solemn behavior that day. Medelia praises Caroline for her sharp noticing skills. Medelia explains that the thief Rain caught might have ties to the Dark Church. Caroline, shocked, says that can't be, but Medelia insists she never speaks without evidence and mentions that the Special Division told her, adding that they are coming soon. Medelia expresses her concerns regarding the matter and tells Caroline to be prepared. Rain received his acceptance notice after missing the test due to being late. The next morning, after the commotion, Professor Caroline informed him it would be like taking an extra exam, and he would be added to the list of successful candidates. Caroline seemed worried that Rain taking extra exams might bring dishonor to his family, so he accepted Caroline's offer on the spot and joined a top magic university. And now Rain finds himself at the gate of Delayton. As he walks through the school corridor, Rain admits he had never been connected to schools before. In his past life, he was taught by the head of the Osiris school, and in his current life, he learned from his family. Even after joining the school, Rain feels no need to learn from others. His sole focus is finding what Lista left behind, awaiting him. So, he needs to level up his skills to equal those he had in his previous life. Suddenly, Krista calls out for Rain in the corridor. Rain turns around and awkwardly greets Krista. Krista recognizes Rain and thanks him for helping her before she scolds him. She tells Rain she could have handled the situation alone, and at that moment, the other students recognize Krista. Seeing all the attention Krista is getting, Rain remarks that she's pretty famous, to which Krista proudly claims that anyone who doesn't know her name is probably a spy. With a smile, Krista declares Rain as her rival and tells him to consider himself lucky. Hearing they are rivals, Rain admits he can't stand annoying things. But seeing Krista's behavior, Rain remembers someone from his past life. In the flashback, a girl named Gisela, whom Rin met at the Magic Tower, had told Rin she would take him as a rival and demanded his respect. That girl was so full of herself, Rain still remembers her in his new life. Thinking about the flashback, Rain cracks a smile, which Krista notices, asking if he is mocking her. Krista tells Rain that if he thinks he knows everything, he will regret it as she summons a rectangular symbol. She clenches her fist, causing a huge tornado-like wind to appear around her and Rain. The wind grows stronger, causing trouble for other students as Rain wonders what Krista is doing there. Krista asks Rain if he must know her true abilities and if he is ready to put in some real effort. Meanwhile, Rain wonders if Krista even cares about her surroundings and finds her similar to Gisela, thinking she must be a reincarnation. Rain thinks he should show his fire spell to Krista. At that moment, another student walks in, asking Rain and Krista if they are putting on a show. He identifies Krista as the top incoming student and Rain as the prodigy who barely got in through an extra exam. Asking if the theme is extreme contracts with a grin on his face, the approaching student is Rupert. Rain and Krista look sideways and see Hubert standing there. Hubert, who is from the Rowynham school, and Krista have been rivals for a while. Hubert tells Krista to keep going, but Krista says she can't continue with a lame audience like Hubert. Krista says she will feel bad if her magic blows off Hubert and tells him to show gratitude for her consideration. Hubert sarcastically says he is grateful and about to cry, and tells Krista it's pathetic to give big talks and she should know her place. Krista mocks Hubert as a runner-up and challenges him, while Hubert warns her that her attitude will disgrace her family's name. Meanwhile, Hubert notices Rain standing there and makes fun of him, claiming he didn't notice him as his presence is little. Seeing Rain stare, Hubert asks if he has something on his face or if something he said rubbed him the wrong way. Calmly, Rain tells Hubert nothing rubbed him the wrong way and asks who he is to be acting big. Hubert seems speechless as Rain asks if he can even use magic and tells him if he wants to pick a fight, he better be good. Hubert seems taken aback, as do the other students spectating, and he calls Rain a brat and questions what he said. Meanwhile, Krista gives a loud laugh. She jeers at Hubert for getting shit-talked by Rain and says she would be embarrassed if it was her. At that moment, a woman from the nearby door bellows at the students to get to class quickly and tells Krista, the new student representative, to prepare for her oath. Krista says she is coming, while Hubert looks speechless. Before leaving, Krista tells Rain she'll let him off this time but reminds him they'll settle it next time. The other students, hearing Krista talk about fighting with Rain, believe Rain has no chance and it's not fair. But two students say that it's fair and that Krista would have a hard time against Rain. Another student asks what they mean, and one explains that Rain was the assistant to Principal Scaldi and is really strong. All students gather in the hall as the host announces the start of the 1388th Delayton University entrance ceremony. Hubert looks uninterested while other students look excited, and Rain, looking bored, hopes it will end soon. A while later, the host announces that the Chancellor will deliver the welcoming speech. The Chancellor, Medelia Page, walks onto the stage who is the greatest wizard in the Empire. She eyes the students with interest, causing them to become nervous. Rain looks at the Chancellor and acknowledges her as the greatest wizard in the Empire and a direct descendant of Amista Page, the founder of magic. He notices her purple hair and believes it must be genetic. Medelia welcomes the new students to Delayton and introduces herself as the chancellor of the university. She congratulates the 233 new students and reveals that half won't make it past the second year due to being held back or expelled. The students are startled as Medelia states that out of the remaining 117, only 60 will advance to the third year, with half of them graduating. That leaves fewer than 30 who will graduate. The students give worried looks, and Medelia says Delayton is a place where their talents will be refined, transforming them from raw gems into jewels. She says that Delayton's policy is unlimited competition and those who cannot keep up with the competition will not even qualify for a diploma. She tells them they will feel the impact of the place through their experience and bellows at them to hone their skills. She advises the students to clash with each other, break and grow, transforming themselves from ordinary raw stones to shining with brilliance. She hopes they'll meet again in 3 years, when she'll welcome them as a senior wizard, not as chancellor. She closes her speech by wishing them luck. The students, at first speechless, break into a round of applause. They begin cheering at Medelia, who gives a proud look. Rain also joins in clapping and looks forward to being there in 3 years' time. Standing on the railings above the hall and looking down are the professors. Professor Caroline, impressed by the commotion, says she likes the energy of the students. She asks the man standing beside her, Professor Owen, what he thinks. Owen says he had expected high levels from the new batch, but is disappointed to see them all as a bunch of fools with empty heads. Caroline asks what he means, and Owen says everyone will get an automatic fail. With a parchment in hand, Rain stares ahead. He ponders if the massive building with a dragon on its roof is the university building. He acknowledges its immense size. Walking along the corridor toward the classroom, he maintains his pace. Noticing a sign indicating the classroom, he heads inside. Upon entering, he observes that it's empty. Taking a seat near the window, he settles in. Sitting down, he gazes out, the wind rustling the curtains. Satisfied, he becomes lost in thought. Suddenly, a voice behind him mentions they're in the same classroom and suggests they get along. Rain turns, shocked to see Krista waving at him. Disappointed at his luck, he clasps his hands to his face, realizing he'll have to compete with Krista from the very first class. Krista expresses her pleasure at sitting beside Rain, anticipating knocking the arrogance out of him from day one. At that moment, Hubert approaches, expressing his happiness. He remarks on Krista's rudeness and lack of manners, especially as she points at others. The girl with purple hair mentions to Hubert that it's part of Krista's charm. She adds that even without it, Krista is quite charming, unlike Hubert, who is merely fancy packaging. Meanwhile, Rain feels irritated by their conversation, sensing he might become sick. He recalls a conversation from his previous life when Frida had asked if he ever wanted to go to school, to which he had replied negatively. Justifying his stance as a 4-star wizard, Rain had deemed school a waste of time, prompting Frida to call him an idiot. Frida had explained that school isn't just for academics but also for learning about people. Observing people like Krista and Hubert, Rain questions if he really needs to learn about individuals like them. As the class is about to start, a huge hand grabs the door, and a massive man enters. Startled by the man's size, Rain compares him to a gorilla, questioning if he's really the teacher. The tension is palpable among the students. Krista informs Rain that the man is Professor Owen, strict about grades. Owen observes the students' curious reactions. Noticing smiles and yawns, he looks disappointed. Owen laments having to teach such unmotivated students. He calls them a bunch of monkeys with empty heads. Spotting a student not paying attention, he throws chalk, hitting him. Continuing to gaze at the students, Owen notices the girl with purple hair smiling. Rain and Krista silently watch Owen. Owen berates the students, calling them pathetic and ignorant. He reminds them that admission to Delayton doesn't mean they own the world and questions their future goals. Owen tells them that if they achieve greatness, they can address him as master, but for now, they are nothing but baby monkeys with much to learn. He asks if any are from the 8 great schools. A few raise their hands. Owen labels them the worst part. He dismisses the students' bizarre formulas as pathetic, stating he doesn't expect their contribution and warns them not to hinder him. He asks if any are from magical noble families. Rain and Krista raise their hands. Owen deems them absolutely revolting. He scolds them for their arrogance and lack of real-life experience, suggesting they return home and learn basic skills. Rain admires Owen's talent for insults, likening him to a cult leader. Owen declares his job is to mold the students into useful wizards, considering them no better than monkeys. He declares that the classroom has no place for anyone worse than a monkey and vows to drop anyone who can't keep up. With no response from the students, he questions if they're half asleep. He wonders if he needs to teach them how to answer. Owen approaches a student, asking if he is scary, to which the student replies he isn't. Then he questions the student if he thinks of him as a pushover. He announces an immediate test, instructing students to pair up with their seatmate. Owen warns that anyone who comes last will be expelled. With a serious demeanor, Owen instructs the students to prepare. The students are astounded to hear about the possibility of expulsion. Hubert thinks the professor is bluffing. Rain and Krista watch in silence. Professor Owen starts writing something on the blackboard and slams it with a punch once done. He gives the students 20 minutes to solve the problem on the board and hand it to him. He warns that anyone who can't finish in time or comes last will be expelled. Seeing the students watch in horror, Owen questions what they are staring at and declares the test has already begun. The students start working to solve the problems, panic-stricken as Owen mentions even monkeys can solve a 2-star magic. Rain remains calm, while Krista is deep in thought. Krista begins analyzing the question and tries to figure out the formula to use. She mutters she will build the basic formula and use a function to get the answer. She shouts at Rain to stop talking and write. Remembering her family's condition, Krista realizes she is all they have, and she needs to raise the honor of her house. She declares she will be the best. Rain pities Krista, feeling she carries a heavy burden. Krista asks Rain if he found the answer, and Rain confirms he did. Rain hands the solution to Krista. Suddenly, a strong wind blows from the nearby window. Rain and Krista are surprised by the sudden gust of wind. Someone appears to be using a spell, causing Rain and Krista's answer paper to tear apart, and a gust of wind blows it out of the window. Krista shouts out in dismay. Professor Owen scolds Krista for being too loud and tells her to be quiet. Krista, looking worried, realizes she needs to start over again. Rain activates the ring of silence and his eyes glow red. With enhanced eyesight, he notices a wisp of transparent white smoke-like thing coming from Hubert. The royal family's secret weapon, a wind spell, is voiceless and colorless, triggering magic without sound or color. Rain deduces it must have been a wind spell. Krista urges Rain to hurry and hand over his paper so she can rewrite it quickly. Rain notes the time limit is only 8 minutes but believes he can solve the problem in that time. Snatching the paper from Krista's hand, Rain explains it's too much for her method to finish in time. Rain insists she needs to learn to give up while Krista curses him in annoyance. Rain asserts he can do it and tells Krista her way isn't possible. He grabs his pen and starts solving the problem at great speed. As he solves the problem, Rain tells Krista that having a mental breakdown won't make her a wizard, urging her to remain calm. He reminds Krista that she needs to stay calm to become a strong wizard, watching her in astonishment. Then Rain recalls his past life battling monsters where even a second's delay caused death, not just expulsion from school. He declares he will lead and tells Krista to follow, urging her not to hold her breath. Hubert and his benchmate finish the test, walking out of their seats with a smirk. Hubert hands the paper to Professor Owen, requesting it to be marked, who takes it. Owen uses a spell to evaluate Hubert's solutions. The paper hovers in the air as a huge cloud-like smoke billows out of it. Owen comments that the runes are working and it's not bad for such a short time. Hubert and his benchmate look pleased, but Owen warns them not to get cocky, pointing out they didn't do everything right. Owen states that 2 minutes are enough to solve this kind of problem. He awards Hubert a grade C for their solution. Hubert bows slightly, expressing confusion as he was the first in class to solve the problem. Owen admonishes Hubert, telling him not to be a brat and reminding him that he should know why he received a C. He calls Hubert a monkey cub. The girl asks Owen what his point is, admitting she has no clue. Rain and Krista walk ahead, finishing the test, as Rain tells the girl to get out of the way. The other students are shocked to see Rain and Krista already finished despite their answer sheets being ripped. Professor Owen and Hubert stare at Rain. Rain requests Owen to evaluate their answers. Owen gives a smile. With a laugh, Owen asks Rain if he really finished, admitting he was looking forward to his expulsion. Rain argues that if you can't use magic because of a little wind, you can't be a wizard if you can't cast a spell. Professor Owen snatches the paper from Rain's hand, praising his ambition, while Hubert's team watches with interest. Owen's eyes widen in shock as he analyzes Rain's answer sheet. Rain explains that one is a leaf and another a circle, and the tune of the circle works well with water magic, simplifying the math for the rune. Rain explains that a first-order equation speeds up the rune's casting, earning Owen's praise despite Rain's secondary school status. Rain details modifying the spell's form to bypass the requirement of mastering runes before using magic. Owen realizes Rain is trying to shorten the activation time of the rune, calling it clever but doubting whether it will work, and Rain agrees. With a smile, Owen proposes they find out themselves, prompting a smile from Rain as well. With a smirk, Owen teases Rain, highlighting the increased difficulty of the math and a dual-property flying circle for the standing equation. As the paper begins glowing, many rays of white light issue from it, startling Owen and Krista. Shortly, a massive fog surrounds them, swirling in all directions. Above them, a blinding flash of white light appears, like a star. The white light turns into a golden star, shocking Owen. All of the other students watch the glowing star in awe. Owen, surprised, says he has been teaching for 13 years and seen a lot of geniuses, but Rain and Krista are the first to come up with the solution. The students all look astounded as Owen expresses his surprise and announces Rain's answer will get a grade never received by anyone, an S grade. Krista looks very excited as Rain tells Owen it was generous of him. Unable to contain her excitement, Krista shouts out and thanks Owen, continuing to cheer. She turns to Rain, who looks happy as well, and even Owen is smiling. Owen tells Krista to return to her seat, threatening to deduct her points, and Krista apologizes, still smiling. Then Owen turns to Hubert and his benchmate, telling them to return as well. Hubert stares at Krista as they walk back to their seats. He walks in front of Rain, and their eyes meet. Rain stares at Hubert, who asks Rain if he has anything to say. Seeing them still not return to their seats, Owen tells them to move on if they don't want to be punished. Rain and Hubert continue staring as Rain warns Hubert he won't let him off the hook next time. All the students that passed the test had to endure the harsh words of Owen the gorilla. Rain also endured the first grade after joining the school. Rain turns to Krista, sitting beside him, and tries to ask her something. But despite calling for her, Krista doesn't pay any attention to Rain. Rain wonders why Krista is pretending to not hear him. Owen questions the students on the reactions on their faces and asks them if they find the lessons difficult. He promises a spicier flavor next time, warning those who can't keep up will be left behind, as the students' despairing faces reflect their harsh realization. After the class ends, Krista calls for Rain. Rain asks what she wants, and Krista stammers and in a low voice thanks him. Rain asks Krista why her voice is low and tells her to repeat again, and Krista shouts at Rain telling him to not be so hard to please. She bellows that the debt will be repaid next time and tells Rain to not get all high and mighty, reminding they are rivals. And she tells Rain it's the first time she ever received help from anyone. As Krista continues shouting at Rain, the other students in class discuss Gorilla Owen awarding Krista the S grade. And they also discuss Rain being in the same team as Krista, and all sound impressed. The next day, standing before two massive towers, Rain asks Krista which floor his accommodation is on, and Krista informs him while also telling him not to brag. Rain tells Krista what she said was arrogant and asks if making unfulfillable promises is common. Looking pissed off, Krista turns away and storms off telling Rain to wait and see. Rain walks into the building, and in the corridors other students recognize him as the top-ranked guy and start whispering. The students think that if Rain had really top abilities he should have been on time and wouldn't have to take an extra test. Rain walks towards a heavy wooden door. He takes out a locket and raises it in front of the door. The door automatically opens, and looking inside, Rain notices it's a single room. The room had a bookshelf, a table, and a chair. Rain walks in and says it reminds him of the magic tower as in his past life he had stayed in a room like such and only focused on studying magic. A flashback of his past life appears before his eyes, but he shakes off the memory, shaking his head. He drops down on his back on his bed. Looking up, he thinks except for the first place, he has nothing more to do and wonders if he should sneak into the Vatican and search for his remains. But with his current abilities and physique, he thinks it's not a good option to sneak around. He raises his hand and triangle-shaped symbols form above his palm, and he tries to move them around, but they disappear. He wonders if his magic is less than 4 stars. His attention is grabbed by an owl which flies down near the window. He turns towards the owl and sees it's carrying a parcel in his leg. So he walks out of the bed and takes the parcel from the owl. He sees it's a wooden box as the owl flies away. The wooden box has something written on its outside, and Rain realizes there's no sender's name. He thinks whether it was sent by his father, and opening the box, sees there are 2 books inside. He picks up the books and notices they are very old and fragile. He recognizes the books as his diaries he entrusted to Lista in his final moments. Staring at them, he is thunderstruck. He looks out of the window, wondering who sent them to him. His face turns to shock as he thinks of the possibility of someone else knowing his real identity.